Hi, I'm Nawal Motlika and welcome to the first episode of Mamas and Papas. This is a magazine show that will include everything you need to know or don't need to know about being a young, sexy, happy and chic parent. Our show takes you into the world of caring for yourself as a parent as well as caring for your children, answering those questions that you always ask and nobody could answer, and even touch on subjects that up until now have been viewed as taboo in our communities. On this week's episode, we speak to a couple who battle with postnatal depression.
It was only after a couple of weeks with her just not getting any better and things were just getting worse and worse that I realized that something was seriously wrong.
We then look at the modern fatherhood and tackle issues that some dads face. We visit a vet to talk about babies and pets.
I think it's important that every family has a pet, at least one.
Lastly, we talk money. What will you do if you haven't slept at all in 3 weeks since you gave birth? And every time you look at your new baby, you wished it hadn't been born. How would you feel if every time your baby cried, you felt terrified and haunted? This is no longer the world of blues. This is postnatal depression.
It really hit me when I just started crying. I couldn't feel any pain in my body. I really felt like I was trapped. I was in this box that I really wanted to break out of, but yet at the same time, I wanted to be with the baby. So when my gynae came to my house to check me and said, oh my goodness, we have to take it to hospital, my mind tried to process exactly what that meant, leaving my child at home. I just had this baby. It's 4 days. As much as I understood that I haven't been able to sleep for 4 days, at the same time I knew that I needed help, and thoughts started running through my head that what if I go to the hospital and I never come back?
I never saw Eleanor's postnatal depression coming. It was a very good pregnancy and we got on very well and it was a very happy pregnancy. And even after she had the baby, I was told it was just baby blues, and I thought she was just a bit different, and I thought it was the hormones and whatever. She was acting a little bit funny and I didn't think anything was wrong. And it was only after a couple of weeks with her just not getting any better and things were just getting worse and worse that I realized that something was seriously wrong.
I hadn't slept for about 3 weeks and I knew I just couldn't carry on. I was shaking and I was going out of my mind, and I couldn't even look at Leia, my baby, and I couldn't hear her cry, and I had to get out.
My whole world crashed down when Eleanor just couldn't cope. She couldn't do anything. She couldn't make a cup of tea for herself.
I went to go see a psychiatrist, and he recommended I be put to sleep for a week. And I was given the option to have the sleep therapy at home or in hospital. And I knew that if I was at home and I heard Leia cry, it would send me into that anxiety again. I think I would have gone mad. I don't know what I would have done if I would have harmed myself. I was in a mental breakdown. I could have done anything.
In severe postnatal depression, the mother may need to be removed from her baby and hospitalized in order for her to get adequate treatment. Postnatal depression can be that severe that the mother can pose a danger to herself or her children.
I thought that at some point that I might hurt myself, I might hurt the child, because I had read about postnatal depression preparing for my pregnancy. I didn't think that it would happen to me, But at that time, it really hit me that it was happening to me, and it meant that I'm a danger to my child, I'm a danger to myself, so something needs to be done. It was a very scary moment.
Postnatal depression is really caused by a combination of biological, psychological and social factors. There's a very strong genetic component in postnatal depression, and people who are prone to depression or anxiety are very likely to get postnatal depression.
During the first, like when in-law was in hospital and those like opening weeks of when we realized it was postnatal depression, it was a very difficult time, and everyone told me that, you know, it's just a time thing, and after a year everything will be better. But there were times when I thought that things are just never going to get better, and this is the rest of my life is going to be with a wife that is incapable of doing anything, and I'm stuck with this little child, and it was a very scary feeling.
I know what depression feels like from this, and I know what sadness feels like, and there's definitely a big difference between being mentally ill, mentally depressed, and being a little bit down.
It was very difficult for me, and there were times when I felt I just wanted to say to her, just get over it. You know, you've got a healthy child, you've got a husband who loves you. Just get on with it. You know, you're on medication, just sort yourself out. And looking back on it now, it's obviously wrong, but it was how I felt at the time, and it's a very difficult thing, and a year is a long time, and that's basically how long it took for her to make a recovery.
Postnatal depression is a serious emotional and mental illness. It cannot be overcome by pulling yourself together. It has to be treated properly with medication and counselling.
I'm still on medication, and if I need to be on it for the rest of my life, that's okay, because my happiness and my sanity comes first.
I took medication when I was in hospital for those 10 days, and then I was on medication for a while after that, I think a month or so. But I really wanted to get back to breastfeeding, and then which is what my doctor was against. And I really fought to say, I want to breastfeed.
Now that she's almost 2, we are so close, and I love her so much, and she's such a joy in my life. I'm going to be her mother forever, and I'm going to sit with her while she's sick, and I'm going to sit with her when she cries one day over a boy, and I'm going to be there forever.
Thank you so much to our guests for your enlightening stories, answers and contribution. Team Mamas and Papas is thrilled to announce to you that as of this month, our magazine will be available on a monthly basis. Follow the instruction at the bottom of your screen and you could be a winner with Mamas and Papas.
My mom kiss me and then love me and then will be care of me. We kiss somebody and we hug them. My mom met my dad, and then they got him laugh. And then they went to get married. And now I am 5.
The home is no longer the women's domain, and the workplace is no longer reserved for men. We engage with South African dads who are involved, committed, and nurturing. Gentlemen, welcome to our show, Mamas and Papas. Great to have you all here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, as we're engaging on, the modern dads, what would you think about, the issue? How much are you involved in terms of, as a modern dad, involved in parenting?
I think it's incumbent upon all parents, first of all, to, if it's possible, to parent their children. So as a father, it's a duty and a responsibility as much as it would be for a mother. Certainly, in the traditional manner, it was the father would go out and bring back the, as so-called, what one would say, the bacon. and the mothers would stay at home. Obviously, the world has changed dramatically, so that parents co-share both the responsibilities, both in the professional sense and the raising of the children. And I think it's a spiritual duty to raise children and to be part of that.
We're becoming much more of, the modern dads. We're no longer like our dads, our dads where we'll just pay, for the bill, pay for school fees. But now we're seeing, that trend of dads wanting to. Do you think, Muzi, our partners or maybe your partner, for example, is giving you that space of you becoming more involved from pregnancy until they give birth?
Well, for me and my partner, it was never a question of space. I was always there. And I read once when I was much younger, and I communicated to my father that whenever they feel that they are getting the incumbent time from their parents, they grow up to be more confident, more sophisticated, as it were, to the outside world. And this is something that I've, from day one, vowed that I was going to do for my children.
When should actually dads start getting involved? Does it actually impact in the children's being, at a later stage that maybe one of their partner or one of the parents was much more not involved?
I think you should be involved right from the pregnancy stage and before birth. Be present at birth, preferably. And it's the most wonderful thing. 25 years ago plus, my first child was born. It was one of the most wonderful experiences in my life. And communicating with a child teaches them language, but it also teaches them give and take and relationships. So, we have responsibilities on both levels.
Then coming to a very sensitive issue, I know, for an example, from different cultural background, from different racial, group, it becomes a bit of a hot, conversation to actually have. The issue of accompanying your partner to the labor ward. What's your take on those, on those issues? Were you there?
When I first saw him,